Once discovered, the Cygnus Class Battlecruiser would go on to strike fear into the hearts and minds of any enemy that would threaten the United Federation of Planets. But what do we know about this destructive powerhouse class? Well, today we'll find out. Hello and welcome to another episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon, a Star Trek web series that dives into the history of any given topic, using beta canon sources and my own imagination to fill in the gaps. In today's episode, we're taking a look at the Cygnus Class Battlecruiser, a mirror universe variant of the Galaxy class first seen in Star Trek Online, to better understand its place in Star Trek history. Please note, there isn't a lot of information on this class, and the information that does exist from Star Trek Online, well, some of it directly contradicts information that has already been established in Alpha Canon. Thus, I've had to slightly alter the design's history in order to properly fit within this new age of Star Trek. And of course, as always, because this is a beta canon video, all information relayed should pretty much be taken with a grain of stardust, and only considered a little bit of Star Trek fun. And so, with all that out of the way, let's begin. Since its initial discovery in the late 2250s, the Mirror Universe had always been a source of fascination for Federation scientists. Originally classified and named the Mirror Universe due to its close congruence to our own universe, yet seemingly completely opposite to our own in every way, this parallel universe would prove once and for all that the multiverse did in fact exist, and if one was not careful, they could find themselves stuck in one of these variants with no hope of returning. There would actually be many crossovers into this particular universe. Famously, Captain James T. Kirk of the original Constitution-class Enterprise, along with 3 of his command staff, would travel to this parallel universe and alter its events, eventually leading to the Terran Empire's complete collapse. One could hardly blame Captain Kirk for his actions. Seeing a universe so similar to our own, yet so brutal and cutthroat, that convincing Commander Spock of that universe to change it was a necessity that only seemed logical. But the consequences of his actions could not be ignored, when the outcome of this minor event in galactic history for the Mirror Universe would have such a great impact, in fact making things even worse within that universe. This would eventually lead to the expansion of the Prime Directive to include the multiverse. By the late 24th century, Starfleet scientists had begun to experiment with ways of covertly observing the Mirror Universe, and various experiments such as sending cloaked microprobes through portals based on Terran transporter technology would provide some results, though fairly limited in their nature. Unconfirmed reports would even suggest that a rogue Starfleet organization, known as Section 31, had operatives able to cross universes at will, collecting data and ensuring that our own Prime Universe would remain undisturbed. After James T. Kirk's voyage to the Mirror Universe, the multiverse's existence was exposed to the general public, though the exact details of how to cross universes would be kept a closely guarded secret, much like time travel technology. It was very gratifying to Starfleet, however, when crew members from Starbase Deep Space Nine would cross back into the Mirror Universe, with their unintentional influence leading to the subjugated Earth by the Bajoran, Klingon, and Cardassian alliance becoming a free planet once again, with the aforementioned alliance struggling to defend itself against this new Terran rebellion. What wasn't known at the time, however, was that once defeated, old habits of the Terran Empire would re-emerge, and after the Klingon Empire would switch sides and join the rebellion, the organization would once again be reborn, though not as ruthless as its previous incarnation. Due to several crossover events by members of the Terran organization, the Empire would collect a lot of data on starship construction, and would proceed in constructing various variants on prime Starfleet's own designs, with the emphasis being on offensive weaponry. And the Terran Empire would begin to flourish, and those worlds who had supported them given the chance to join this new empire, or suffer the consequences. And although this might sound harsh, it truly wasn't, as all of these planets gladly joined to defeat the Bajoran-Cardassian alliance, and unlike the Terran Empire of the past, these member worlds would be seen and treated as equals. Slavery in the Empire would not be reborn. But by the turn of the 25th century, the Terran Empire had a fleet of starships and was growing quickly. And it was then that Terran scientists began to experiment with their own abilities to travel the multiverse. And to do this, they would create an entirely new variant based on the prime Galaxy-class design, and the Cygnus Class Battlecruiser would be born. Sitting at a length of approximately 651 meters and 42 decks tall, the Cygnus Class Battlecruiser would be designed to be operated by 2,000 officers and crew members. Though similar in look to the Galaxy class, this starship variant would actually be quite different than its prime counterpart. Containing an additional deflector dish in a cutout portion of the saucer section, the Cygnus Class Battlecruiser would use the two deflectors in concert to create a breach into the Prime Universe, and cross over with a mission to observe the Prime Universe and collect as much data as possible before returning home. And the USS Cygnus was in fact able to cross into our universe. But due to the unknown dangers of this untried technology, the Cygnus's crew would not survive the journey, and the starship itself would remain adrift for several years. Then, in 2407, the USS Europa, on a deep space patrol and star charting assignment, would discover the wayward starship. And after securing the ship, Starfleet Command would begin its own investigation into the class and the mirror universe once again. The Cygnus Class Battlecruiser would have a standard safe cruising speed of warp factor 8, with an emergency maximum speed of warp factor 9.99. Its reinforced tritanium-neutronium hull plating would allow this ship to remain at that extreme velocity for 18 hours at a time, before the engines had to be shut down and repairs to the warp components needed to be completed. Unlike Starfleet starships of the time, the Terran Empire had not yet discovered or began experimentation with transwarp velocities. Tactically, the Cygnus Class Battlecruiser was far beyond anything Starfleet had ever imagined. The Terran version of the phaser array system was almost twice as powerful as Starfleet's best and newest system, included within their classes, and its torpedo systems would be almost as equally as advanced. Even enhanced tri-cobalt torpedoes would be included within its design, along with their advanced versions of both photon and quantum torpedoes. Shielding for the Cygnus Class Battlecruiser, however, would be far less advanced than what was standard for Starfleet at the time, using a more basic version of shielding similar to what had been included within the Galaxy class itself at its initial launch. This battleship class would also not contain bioneural and its scientific systems, scanners and sensors, would be quite primitive compared to those currently included within Starfleet starships. Starfleet Command immediately saw the potential in this new class, and began a project to refit the USS Cygnus into a hybrid of Starfleet and mirror technologies. The Federation Council, however, was not so eager. The Alpha and Beta Quadrant had begun a new era of peace and cooperation, and in order to foster goodwill with its new Federation friends, the Federation Council would only allow for 5 additional starships of the class to be constructed, and for the entire class and how it came into existence in the first place to be completely classified, with the Cygnus class's own statistics being falsified to match those other Galaxy-class starship variants at the time had. In the Mirror Universe, the technology used to cross the Cygnus into the Prime Universe would be abandoned. Historical records of the period tend to suggest that an outside force influenced the Terran Empire's decision in this matter, though these reports, of course, cannot be confirmed. The Cygnus class would go on to quietly make its mark on Federation history, utilized in extreme circumstances where the defense of the United Federation of Planets warranted the Starship class to take action. And this directly led to the Cygnus class earning its powerhouse place in Starfleet history. Thank you for watching today's episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon. What do you think of the Cygnus class and the historical narrative that I've created here? Do you want to see more videos like this one? Well, leave your comments in the section below, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, hitting that little bell icon so you won't miss a single video we release. Want to help the channel cross the multiverse? Then consider becoming a channel patron. The link to our Patreon account is in the description below. Thanks again for watching. For the Empire!